Okay, you're live.
All right, everyone, and welcome back to the Horizon podcast. This is the first time for me being in the front desk, or in the big chair, so we'll see how this goes. Today, we are going to be talking about Disney, whether we like Disney, whether we hate Disney, whether we like what Disney used to be, and what we hate about what Disney has become. So, does anyone have any first thoughts about Disney at all?
I think we first need to talk about how Disney is not just the Disney company. Disney owns so much.
They own too much.
Everything.
They own me.
They own Marvel, Star Wars, 20th Century Fox.
They own a lot of
ESPN.
things you wouldn't expect for them to own too. Like it's not just media. Like they own like a ton of companies.
I was surprised that they produced an Alien movie.
Yeah, like it's just crazy.
Which one?
So
The newest one, Romulus.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I heard that wasn't too bad.
I didn't like the ending.
I haven't seen it. I like the first two,
First two.
but we're getting off topic. But
yeah, but I think Disney just kind of has a monopoly on a lot of things, and I think that's an issue with our government, not necessarily just Disney, but the way that you can like buy up all these companies and like have it all under one thing. I think that's a little absurd, but that's when I think of Disney, I think of just how they own absolutely everything. So it's hard to be like, oh, I love or I hate Disney because like
which
they own
aspect of
so
Disney?
like which company of Disney are we talking about? Like we're talking about Disney World, like Disney Media, like all that kind of stuff. Because I have mixed opinions on all of it.
Understandable.
So how are we gonna break it down?
Disney ruined Star Wars.
Yeah,
That's
there
true.
you go. How about we start there? Yes,
Disney ruined Star
Disney
Wars.
ruined Star Wars.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The Disney movies are terrible. I don't consider them Star Wars movies.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate. What about
So-
Mandalorian?
That's a non-issue. That's
First two seasons were great. Season 3, they ruined.
it's like when you introduce somebody to Star Wars, you're not like, here's Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Like, no. Here are the 6 Star Wars movies. And then like some of the series, I didn't think Obi-Wan Kenobi was that bad. I've never seen The Mandalorian. The movies turned me off to the Disney Star Wars so bad. I don't want to
That's why
jump into that.
That's why I don't really get hyped up whenever new Star Wars stuff comes out. Like
I don't
whenever
either.
Whenever I see them announced, I'm like, oh, well, we're gonna have to see how this is.
Mhm.
Whereas I wasn't like that at first. Like whenever The Force Awakens came out, I was like, oh, this is gonna be so good. And now when I see a new Star Wars project announced, I'm like, I don't really care that much.
You hear that they're doing 11 or 10, 11, and 12?
Yes, I did see that.
I'll believe it when I see it,
That was announced.
and I probably won't see it. All things considered.
I think one thing we talked about last week, I'm not sure why we come across this topic, but like how whenever they're trying to be inclusive, they
Yes,
they just recycle old stuff
exactly.
and try and plug in when I think personally, no, it's just my opinion. You can have others, but I think they should come up with a new idea, a new story to give like, do you know what I'm saying? Like the diversity,
come up
they're
with a
just
new-
they're just plugging in people in places that doesn't really make sense.
So you're saying that rather than just changing what it originally was, to come up with a new story to show
Yes.
inclusive. That I 100% agree with, because
Yeah.
I cannot stand it whenever movies like take The Little Mermaid, for example. Ariel's white in the original cartoon, but in the newest movie, they casted a black girl to play Ariel. And it makes me mad whenever they do that, just because they're changing what the movie originally was.
Me, just because it's lazy.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I just think it's lazy, and they should just come up with new stories, produce a whole new thing to.
Even
what am I
without
trying to
the
say?
race swapping, live action remakes are just lazy. Period. I feel as though they had to add in the whole race swapping thing just to generate a little bit of controversy. If people will even notice they exist. You know.
Here's how you can cause controversy. Cast a white girl in Princess and the Frog live action.
I think with like Little Mermaid, like I don't think her skin color matters. So at least for me, like I don't care if she's black, white, Asian, whatever. But I think in like a movie like Snow White, where like her skin is white as snow, or like
Mhm.
Mulan,
Yeah.
where she's Asian, or like
Rapunzel.
Rapunzel,
Where they
she
wanted-
has long hair.
Yes.
Blonde
Like,
hair.
Blonde,
I
long
think
blonde hair.
When the features matter, that's when I'm like, okay, why would you race swap? That's laziness. But like in the Little Mermaid specifically, I'm like, I don't care. I think they probably did it out of like woke intentions of
That
just
is
like
that is
the
exactly
fake
why.
progressiveness. Like I think we should be inclusive regardless. I don't think, I think we should tell stories of all kinds of backgrounds. And, but I don't think it's necessarily like you can't put like other races in there, but like people of other cultures deserve their own stories as well.
I think the issue with it is all of the live action movies are unnecessary already.
Yeah.
Because like it'd be different if like, oh, there's no way for me to watch the original Little Mermaid.
Mhm.
It's like there is. And from what I've seen of the remakes, the originals are better. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
I kept thinking of a single exception of that.
So I think the issue arises is like we don't even want this anyway. Like why are you changing it?
Exactly. Like
Mhm.
you're changing something that was already good as is, so it's pointless to do it.
I will say, I think they started with Cinderella doing the live action remakes.
It technically was Sleeping Beauty in a way, but it was a movie about Maleficent.
Okay.
Except
I liked
they
Maleficent.
changed the whole story in that, which I actually liked, that they made it something
Yeah.
new.
But-
That's kind of like Wicked and the Wizard of Oz, how they're
Yeah.
like different,
Mhm.
and like the Oz movie. But like, I really liked Cinderella and Beauty and the Beast, the live action ones.
Well,
Those ones are
it's
okay.
just as easy and I say more effective to be like, oh, we're gonna continue the story and look
Yeah.
at this new character, and people are like, oh, I can go experience this new thing that looks, it's live action now. Like, oh,
Mhm.
look at how new this is,
Mhm.
and not just be like, hey, you remember that movie you watched when you were a kid 1,000 times? Here it is, completely different,
Mhm.
and people are like, why don't you like it?
What's your
Mhm.
opinion on Disney putting in gay scenes in their movies? Like Good Luck Charlie or Buzz Lightyear, Star Wars.
Good Luck Charlie.
Wait, they didn't go
I
like
remember.
Charlie?
Yeah,
I remember. There's two wives.
Well, they do here, not in
it was
China.
like a mom and a mom.
Well, like that's fine.
actually what got.
I forgot about
There's
that.
nothing wrong with
Yeah,
that.
I did know they
No.
did do it in the Buzz Lightyear movie, and Pixar,
And
Came-
Dory, yeah.
yeah, Finding Dory, and Pixar came out with a movie where they had a gay couple in it, and I'm pretty sure it was their biggest bomb in history so
Oh,
far.
isn't it Onward?
Is it
I
Onward?
don't know.
Wait, no, I know what you're talking about.
It
Strange
is.
World, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both of them actually had that happen.
Like, I don't think there's any issue with it. There is a scene in the last Star Wars movie.
Oh yes.
It bothers me
Yeah.
when they
If
throw it
it's-
in unnecessarily.
See, like if
Yeah.
it's forced.
Yeah, it's
that's
like,
when it pisses me
let's
off.
have two women kiss after they kill Palpatine for the second time, which completely ruins the redemption of Anakin Skywalker. It's like
Yeah.
why, like
Yeah.
whatever. Why just throw it in there?
Even Marvel with Thor: Love and Thunder and Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, they had gay couples in them.
It's like it's fine, but like make it, if you're going to throw it in, don't just like throw people a bone. by
Don't be a
saying,
fence sitter.
Like
Yeah.
just make it a plot point. Nobody cares if there's like a gay character in a
Exactly,
movie.
yeah.
Mhm.
But when you're just like, oh, what do you mean? They're kissing right there.
Yeah.
Like that's inclusion. And it's
Yeah.
like
Just
no.
ignore that we can edit it out for China. you
Yeah,
know?
it's like exactly.
Mhm.
It's like let's put it in, but let's make it easily removable.
Exactly.
So
What-
that
That was not for China, right?
What?
I'm pretty sure they do.
They do, yeah. I'm being
Yeah.
serious.
Yeah.
That's literally what they do.
What I don't like
In other
about that
countries.
kind of thing is that when they do any kind of diversity, but this is especially with gay people, is that they will make that part of their diversity like their entire personality, and that's
And
not.
Yes.
that's the storyline.
Yeah, like-
don't.
That
Why is
that's-
that? Why that's nobody's story.
Exactly, like being gay is not your story. It's
You're
just
still a normal.
it is just as
person.
normal as being straight. Like it's
Yeah.
less
Yeah.
common or whatever, but like it's not everything about you. And this is not just Disney. A lot of things that I've seen media related just make being gay like the entire center point, which can be fine every now and like if you're watching a rom-com, yeah, it's going to be the focal point, but like it's so hard to find movies where gay people literally just exist.
Mitchell's versus the Machines.
Did you watch
That's one.
King season 3?
Yes.
They did it with Maya Hawke's character. What did you think about that? Do you
That's
remember
not
that
Disney
scene?
though. That's Netflix.
Well,
Yeah,
That's
not-
different.
It was also set kind of in the 80s where the
Yeah.
whole point of it was just kind of like kind of
Yeah.
hiding it a little bit. So that's a little bit of a different story.
I like that because with Steve Harrington, like, like it had this all set up towards like, oh, you think they're going to get together because they did have a lot, like Steve and Maya Hawke. What is her name? I don't know what her
Robin.
character is. Robin.
Yeah.
But like their whole thing is that like you would expect them to get together. So like I kind of like they were like, no, like they're not going to get together. Like they're just going to be besties, which I love. And they don't make being gay her whole thing. Like it's
Yeah.
one scene where she's like, hey, I don't like you like that. I actually like women. And then
So
they
that-
just
that's
move
an example
on.
of it done right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the right
Disney
way
has
to
a
do
bad
it.
track record of doing this example like completely.
You are 100%
Wrong.
correct.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings me to the next thing I wanted to talk about. What are y'all's thoughts on what they've done with the Snow White movie?
I cannot stand Rachel Zegler.
Neither
it-
can I.
I didn't even see it. I
don't think it's out
It's
yet.
not out
It
yet.
Didn't they
comes
have
out
to
next
remake
year.
it or something?
Well, so what happened with it is originally the dwarfs weren't even going to be in the movie at all. They were going to be 7 bandits, and they weren't little people. They were normal, like normal height people.
Mm-hmm.
And people created so much backlash for that. Another thing about that is the prince was actually going to be one of the bandits, but people created so much backlash for that they ended up reshooting it with CGI dwarfs. They
Well,
didn't even hire.
CGI'd one?
And that made
Yeah.
people even more mad because that's the one chance they could actually do a true diversity hire.
Exactly.
And they
hire
didn't
a bunch
do
of
it.
little people to do it. And I know why they won't do it. It's because I think his name's Peter Dinklage, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He made the comment that if they hired little people to play the dwarfs in Snow White, that would be offensive. When it's not. Like a lot of people, little people are pissed that they didn't hire them for it.
Star Wars. The original Star Wars, they hired little people all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
for
did.
Ewoks
Like
and R2 and
R2D2.
whatnot.
Yeah,
too.
R2D2. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a little person for
That was
the
like a
Jawas. I assume
And-
it was also.
I know for sure Ewoks. I don't know
Yeah,
about
Ewoks. It
Jawas.
definitely was.
I feel like
CGI didn't exist. They had to hire little people. Little
Yeah.
people, they fit into the smaller costumes.
Exactly,
and
yeah.
Was able to perform as smaller characters really well.
Mhm. Exactly, and that's one of the main things I hate about the Snow White movie. The other one is that they changed the reason why she's called Snow White
I didn't
because,
see that.
well, in the original Snow White, she's called Snow White because her skin is white as snow, but they don't color that. Like they don't color Snow White for that reason in the new one because Rachel Zegler's not white. I think she's mixed. I think.
She has a darker complexion.
Yeah,
for
she's
sure.
darker complexion. Yeah.
Than white as snow, I would say.
Yeah. I
But
guess you could say
there's
that.
another example of like changing things because the original Snow White obviously is like, oh, Snow White gets tricked by Maleficent, Prince Charming
Maleficent.
has to go save her, blah blah blah, whatever.
Snow White, that was the evil queen.
Oh, is it not Maleficent?
That's evil queen. Yeah,
Maleficent's-
Maleficent's Sleeping Beauty.
Oh, then what is Snow White about? Oh, it's about the dwarves.
yeah,
Yeah.
The poison
I
apple and
actually
stuff.
have never seen Snow White.
It's boring.
honestly-
You're not missing anything.
It's honestly my least favorite.
What
Disney
is
princess movie.
What is Snow White about?
It's when she bites into the apple.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
but
the
but
queen
Prince
eats
Charming
it.
still goes
Why did she bite the apple?
because she gets tricked by the witch.
Yeah.
Was she just hungry?
No.
Yeah, she was just like, this apple's really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this tricked her into it. Yeah.
Stupid.
And what is Sleeping Beauty? But no, that's Sleeping Beauty, isn't it?
No,
That's-
No,
That's-
that's when
tricks
she pricks her
thing on
thing.
a spinning
She
wheel because
yeah.
it's a
puts her-
prophecy.
Yeah.
She puts her hand on the spinning wheel and then. She
Then what's the
dies.
apple do? Doesn't the apple do the exact same thing?
No,
Yeah,
it was
the
like
apple kills him.
poisonous.
Well, yeah, but doesn't it like it puts her into a coma
But
until?
I love this.
She's not asleep the whole time. She's only asleep for a little bit.
Oh, there is a theory about the ending of Snow White.
What is
The
Snow White about?
the theory about Snow White is that the prince and the dwarfs eventually died, and that the prince coming together is actually in the afterlife.
Ooh, he's death.
Yeah.
Okay, the
That's
Disney
cool. I like that. I like that version more.
That's the theory I saw going around.
poison apple falls. Okay, yeah. So
Yeah, because she's supposed to like die.
Yeah, she died.
Sleeping
Yeah.
Beauty, it's like get her asleep and get her away from me, and then this is like, oh, my magic mirror said that.
yeah,
Snow
the
White's
the
better
queen
than
tries to kill
me, so I
her,
gotta
Yeah.
kill her, but it
and
didn't
then
work.
she falls into a coma that can only be that can be broken only by a kiss from the prince. Blah, blah,
Both do
blah.
have the coma thing.
Yeah.
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 that is the synopsis of the story.
So
But-
there's a lot of like montages of princes kissing.
In-
passed out
What were we
women.
talking? What were we
Yeah, it's a
talking-
little
what were we
weird.
Talking about before that.
in the new story because they changed the story.
Yeah.
It was talking about like making the whole thing, like making gay characters, the whole thing gay. Now it's not about that at all.
Mhm.
So
Now it's about Snow White's figuring out how to be a leader as a woman, and the prince is like a non-issue,
Mhm.
and that upset a lot of people
Yeah,
because
yeah,
at
'cause
that
they-
point it's not Snow
That could
White.
Be a story, but don't call it Snow
Yeah,
White.
But that's what I was gonna say. Like, why not just keep the whole
By the way,
bandits idea and her being independent thing and just make it not Snow
And
White?
call
Make
the
it its new
title
thing.
something like referring to Snow White, but
Probably not.
not.
Yeah, like
literally
a spin-off
Snow
with the
White.
character.
Or just make a new princess
exactly. You see, that's what they should
Mhm.
do. They should make a new princess completely.
and hire someone other than Rachel Ziegler.
Yes, because
Yeah.
she's
What's
making
wrong with Rachel's-
she's
She's
making
just not
comments
media
like
trained.
that. she falls in love with a guy who literally stalks her. That's what she says
Well,
about the
She's
original
not
Snow
And
really
White.
trained.
she has complained multiple times that for the amount of work she's putting in, she's severely underpaid, even
Oh,
though she's
yes.
making millions of dollars.
Yeah,
Probably, I don't know her exact pay
she
grade.
mainly did that when the actors' strike was going on, I think.
She's whiny.
could
That's
be.
the summary.
Yeah,
Saying
and
she
she,
should get like a big percentage of the streaming revenue.
yeah, she said she should get
Streaming.
percentage for every stream for the end of time, which is it's a
I
thing.
understand getting paid for what you do, but like, I feel like actors, a lot of them, like the bigger ones, get paid way too much already.
Yeah.
They do.
hmm
I think a lot of little, like smaller actors don't get paid enough, and I understand why all the actors went on strike and that kind of thing. But like,
I'll tell you who
the
should.
big people are not the ones who should be complaining.
But she was like, I mean, I'm working 8-hour days and I'm only making 30,000
Yeah.
a day.
Oh.
And it's like
And
people work 8 hours a day and make 30,000 a year.
I will say
Exactly.
she was really good in the Hunger Games movie.
I mean, I'm
did-
sure she's a fine actress.
Rachel Zegler.
Rachel what?
Zegler.
Oh, is she anything I would see?
She's
She's in
in.
the Hunger Games
She was
song,
also
Like a
in one of Steven Spielberg's movies
She's like
called West
very
Side Story.
new.
Oh yeah,
She's not old
that's a
at
whole
all.
other
No,
can of
she-
worms.
She's close
she's
to-
really young.
to age on us. Close to age.
She might be in her.
Close to us in age.
Yes.
Yeah.
What he said.
But she's just very arrogant, and I don't know. She just rubs me the wrong way. I don't know.
She made a lot of comments about the original Snow White that made people mad. Like she commented about its age. It came out 85 years ago, and evidently so, and that pissed a lot of people
it's-
off.
It is
Yeah.
boring, but it's
Yeah.
not bad.
But people are getting mad that she's making negative comments about the original movie.
Because Disney adults are insane.
That's
The
true.
Beatles are insane.
They
Disney
are.
was literally a pro-Nazi company.
Yeah.
No,
It was.
but
Walt Disney
they were
was Nazi.
anti-communist. They were not. And
Wasn't there a Donald Duck in a Nazi uniform?
that is a
yeah.
propaganda short about him having a nightmare that he is a Nazi, and he wakes up and goes, "Oh, thank God, I'm not a Nazi. I'm an American." People just take it out of
Maybe I
context.
was misinformed. I do
Yeah.
remember seeing Donald Duck. in-
Yeah, I've seen the
Yeah,
Nazi
it's-
Donald.
I've never seen that one. I gotta watch that.
It's funny. You should look it up.
I remember hearing
it's actually pretty
questionable
funny.
things about Walt Disney, but that was a long time ago, and I really don't remember what they were. It just left a bad.
It was
taste
He
in
is
my mouth.
definitely anti-communist, and he is an alleged anti-Semite, but that's alleged. It's
I've-
kind of hard to prove.
I've heard the
He hates the Nazis, so.
anti-Semite.
I mean, most people back in the day were anti-Semitism, especially if you're from Europe. So
Man,
My favorite theories about Walt Disney is that he's frozen in the bottom of Disneyland, and that's why they made Frozen was because when people search Frozen Walt Disney, now it's the movie that comes up,
Oh,
and not.
I've seen that.
It's
one.
true, I've seen
heard
his
that
head.
Theory.
Now
I've heard
Frozen,
that one.
Frozen was a thing.
Frozen. It was.
Frozen was a thing.
Here's my thing with Frozen. The songs I could not get out of my head.
Yeah.
if it wasn't so
They were
overexposed, I wouldn't
constantly
mind it.
played on the radio nonstop.
on the radio,
Oh yeah.
Oh, Let It Go was huge. It
Was
was
it
huge.
really?
It was
Yeah,
one of the
oh,
most
yeah.
streamed songs of
You
the year.
walk even if you walked into a grocery store, you'd hear "Let It Go" playing.
I didn't. That was a weird period of time in my life, so I didn't listen to a lot of radio then. So all I remember was that I was obsessed with it, and my dad illegally pirated it before it came out.
There you
And
go.
I remember watching it, and I was telling everybody, I was like, "Guys, I've seen Frozen," and they were like, "No, you haven't." It hasn't come. I was like, "No, I literally have."
Who sings
Right,
that song?
right.
Who does the Elsa?
Idina Menzel.
That it,
And
She was
yeah.
the last princess, right?
Yeah, she was the last
she
new
was-
one.
Yeah, she was the most recent.
What about
Wait, I thought Moana came out after.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
it did.
Oh,
Does
Mo-
Moana
I
count?
never saw Moana.
She's
I
counted,
don't know
yeah.
if Moana. Yeah, I guess she would. Count.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she counts.
And there's at least,
Princess?
There's
yeah, she
There's
is.
two, or there's
This
going
is
to be a
done
second
before,
one.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
also
there's-
one from Wish, who I don't know the name of,
Oh my.
and Raya, but no one really cares about those two, but they technically exist.
Yeah,
When did Brave come out?
That one
Brave-
came before Frozen.
You know,
Okay.
one of my
Maybe
one of my
the-
teachers from elementary school considered Jessie from Toy Story a princess.
No.
And, what's that one Disney Channel show?
Jessie.
Jesse from
Jesse.
Jesse.
Yeah.
Jesse.
She could also
Now,
be considered a princess.
Disney Channel.
There we go. That's Jesse's a princess.
That actress is terrible at acting. Though.
Are you right?
Oh yeah, she was terrible in Jessie.
Oh, I did the exact.
What's that
I'm
movie
Radio
that she does
Rebel.
that in? Where she does the little.
Radio Rebel.
Yeah, Radio Rebel.
Now, Disney Channel and the Disney Channel movies. As a
Oh.
child, I was very,
Yes.
very prone to watching
So,
High School Musical 1, 2, 3.
so what were your most favorite Disney Channel shows?
Jesse.
Zach and Cody.
Zach and Cody. Like with me, I loved Sweet Life on Deck, the
That was good.
sequel to that. That
Wait,
was my
hold on.
favorite
Phineas
one.
and Ferb, though.
Phineas and
Phineas
Ferb.
and
Mhm.
Ferb.
I love both of them.
Being named Zach, I was always like, me.
I
That's
li-
my
I-
representation.
I also like the Wizards of Waverly Place.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one. I like
That,
that
that
one.
recently got a sequel series, like brand new. It's
Yeah.
actually being released right now.
Interesting.
Wizards
What about
of
Gravity
Waverly
Falls?
Place.
Gravity
What?
Falls.
Gravity
I
Falls.
love Gravity. I
I
forgot
never-
Gravity Falls was Disney.
This might
Yeah,
be a
it doesn't
shot.
feel like Disney. That's why it's
I
good.
know. A lot of their cartoons don't feel like Disney.
They
Like, they're
don't.
really good ones.
I've never watched Gravity Falls. I'll admit.
Kick
Oh my
Butowski. You
gosh.
might remember Kick Butowski.
Do you
I
remember,
remember that.
when the finale came out for Gravity Falls?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
did you like wait to watch? Like, were you anticipating like when it came out?
I followed the like search for like the Bill statue afterwards. I like
Yeah.
followed that as well. It was
Yeah.
nuts.
Oh my gosh.
There were a lot of Disney Channel shows.
But
that
Cartoon
was
Network
good.
cleared.
Wait, what'd you say?
Cartoon Network.
That was
is
Nickelodeon.
Disney Channel.
Oh yeah,
That was
In-
Nickelodeon.
in every aspect. In cartoons,
Yeah.
I guess.
yeah.
Didn't that close down? Like, isn't Cartoon Network no longer exist?
I'm actually not sure.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Their Asia branch did. Their North America one's still active.
Oh.
But Asia's where they do all the animation, so it's becoming difficult.
That makes sense.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think their website's like basically gone too.
Yeah.
It probably if they shut the network down, then they probably shut the website down
Every
also.
cartoon you know gets animated in South Korea.
Pretty much.
South Korea?
Yeah, actually.
Interesting.
Yep. So if you're
Or Singapore.
I would have thought Japan would have been a big.
Yeah.
They have their own thing. They
There's
don't-
Yeah, Japan has like
Yeah.
anime.
Well, Japan has a lot of. They just have big studio. Like they have Studio Ghibli and then like
Yeah.
others. I don't know. Ghibli.
Miraculous Ladybug. Meredith, have you seen that?
That's aired on Disney.
A Bug's Life.
You haven't?
A Bug's Life.
Oh, that reminds me. Do you guys think that Disney ruined Pixar?
I
To
feel
an
like to
extent.
some extent, yes. To some extent, they did.
Everything they have.
Pixar recently announced that they're going to start making more sequels to their movies, which I actually like. But there's one sequel that they're making that I feel like is completely unnecessary, and that is Toy Story 5.
Oh
There's
yeah.
too many.
Yes, they're making
Okay.
a Toy Story 5.
I will say the storyline is kind of cute. This has to be the last one though, because there's nothing
Yeah,
really
the
they can
story-
do beyond
The
this.
storyline
You would
is like
think.
iPads, right? Like they're
Yeah,
bringing
the storyline
iPads.
is like the toys are fighting against iPads and
Wait, I kinda like
technology.
Yeah, that
Mhm.
could work, but,
but it has to be the last
yeah,
one.
they
Yeah.
they
you
cannot
can't do anything else.
they
after
can't
You would
go
that.
think,
farther.
man.
And I feel like they ended it pretty good with Toy Story.
I mean,
4.
you thought
I
that
didn't
Star
see
Wars
four.
ended pretty good,
yeah,
and then they
I
were
say it
like,
ended well with 3. Like Toy Story.
Toy
I
Story
mean,
3 is the goat.
let's
See, I like
ruin
Toy Story
everything.
2.
You don't.
I love Toy Story 2.
You need
That's
to
my
watch
favorite.
the first
Favorite
6.
the
The first 6 Star Wars are
Yes.
good, and then Disney was like,
First
let's
six-
let's ruin everything that the movie said. Everything made in the first 6 movies, we're gonna ruin it all.
Yes.
Okay.
That's part of why I didn't like the sequels because it retroactively damaged the other ones.
Well, it was
Yeah.
like even from the first trailer, because there's the big hoopla about
Oh,
there
yeah.
being a black stormtrooper. Because
Yeah.
if you don't know, stormtroopers are all clones of one
That's
man.
not true.
Well,
That's
So-
true in the
some-
original 6.
in the original 6, yes, but
Because they were all mass produced. They were all
Yes.
copies of Jango Fett.
That's
yeah.
the clones, not the stormtroopers.
well,
But the clones are the stormtroopers.
here's the thing.
That's what
like,
Order 66
here's the,
did.
Here's the thing.
No, I
with
mean
the
they
Stormtroopers.
switched them out between Revenge of the Sith and
Well,
New
here-
Hope.
Here's the thing.
They
They,
gave 'em
they
new.
didn't make that official until recently.
Yeah,
Really?
that wasn't until Force Awakens that they're like, actually, they went and recruited people.
Mhm.
The world's explanation for stormtroopers getting so much worse.
They were, I don't
It
know.
would have been so dope if he like
Defects.
did one someday.
Defects.
It was the actor of Jango Fett.
He-
Oh, Tim Rimmers.
he would have gladly done it because he loves doing.
Yeah,
yeah.
Star Wars.
because the clone troopers were like pretty powerful, and
Yeah.
then the stormtroopers are terrible.
Sucked, yeah.
I don't know, plot armor.
I
I
guess.
think that's the
plot armor.
Mhm.
Yep.
yeah. But don't watch the Disney Star Wars; they're bad.
Oh, yeah, they suck.
Everything is bad.
Well, I've never watched any of them, but I love going to Star Wars, like the land. in Disney
Oh,
World.
I,
It's
I went
so-
there a few years ago, and it
I-
was.
it's-
See, I
I've
find
heard-
it boring.
I've
I
heard
love
that
Star
was
Wars
pretty
Land.
nice.
I've
Yeah, I
never
don't like it.
watched any of it, but it is great.
Oh
It's
yeah, I love
amazing.
Star Wars Land. I went there back in 2020. When was that? 2022. That was when I went.
Where is it? Disney World?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Disney World.
Yeah,
And Disneyland.
LA.
They have one.
Does
in
Land
Florida,
has
too.
one? No.
Yeah, they both have them.
Yeah,
Is-
they both have one.
Is one bigger than the other?
No, they're the same.
No, they really.
I haven't been to Disney World since 2012, so
Just a heads up.
but it
Be,
was so fun.
be prepared for lines if you go again.
But
Yeah.
World's in Florida.
World's
Yes.
in Florida.
They have Epcot, and
Yeah.
Epcot's,
I love Epcot.
Epcot's
Epcot.
great.
I love
I
Epcot.
love the
Epcot is great.
I love the ride in it.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to know how many times I've been to Disney.
I've been there many times too.
I go just for Epcot.
People who go to
That's
Disney
usually what I
kind of
do.
crazy
I don't even
to
care
me.
about
Like,
Disney.
how do you get that kind of money?
Well,
Yeah.
most of mine.
Inheritance.
So actually, this is a good topic to bring up. So for competitive cheer, I did competitive cheer my whole life, and we did this event called Summit, and it was held by ESPN, which is owned by Disney. So every single year, if we made it to this competition, my whole gym would have to fly to Disney and stay there for a week and compete there. But then you also go to the parks afterwards.
Hey,
So
That's-
you know how much money they make out of it. But that's why I got to go so many times.
That
Similar
makes sense.
story here, but replace cheering with a 5K, and there you go.
Yep.
A
Or
5K.
10K. Yeah,
They
10K,
just hold so
5K
many events.
differs.
They
Yeah.
get so much money.
Well, doesn't like
Crazy.
every competitive cheer team in the country go as well?
Yes.
I feel like every team is like,
Everybody.
we're going to regionals, and it's
Yeah.
like,
Well, no, because it's not only so I did it for school cheer too, and we also did it for school
Oh,
cheer. So
okay.
I would hit it twice sometimes.
twice a year.
Yeah.
Unreal.
On that note, we will wrap this episode up. It was fun talking about Disney with you all, though, and what we like and what we don't like about it. So we will end this episode off. And Annalise, you want to give your meow performance?
Meow, meow, meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow.
And there we go.
Now available for $12. Play separate processing and handling. We'll give you a second copy.
Hey,